Uh,
Oh, well, Paul, you know how to start us off. So why don't you kick us off?
what is up, interpreters? I am Paul Caputo. For one more day, the executive director of the National Association for Interpretation.
What is up, interpreters? This is Song, your NAI conferences and events manager.
What's up, interpreters? This is Heather Minier, your interim executive director.
Wow.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh,
Director? What? Are you sure? Yes. Well, we have Paul Caputo. Paul, you have just had so many roles in NAI. We're here because your time is coming to an end at NAI.
Mm.
Song and I are very sad about this.
the whole staff is
And
sad. Lots of people
the
are
whole
sad.
the whole
Members are
staff is
sad.
that
Yes.
yes. Let's talk about the beginning.
Ooh.
Let's talk about your interview with
Mm.
NAI. When you came to NAI and you were interviewed by myself and Nancy Nichols and Tim Merriman,
Yeah.
do you have any recollection of what you thought the job might be?
I was mostly trying to figure out what interpretation was, right? Because I showed up for that interview with I speak French. I showed up for that interview with my dad wrote a book about something called hermeneutics, which is a kind of perception of the world philosophical construct. I did not know what interpretation was, and I did my research. Like I was on the website trying to figure out what interpretation was, and I was like, wow, there's like these people are dressed up like in period costume, and I was like, that's pretty interesting. And then there were like some other pictures of people in like ranger hats, and but like there was no like explanation on the website of just like like we have now, like, hey, if you work at these places or you do these things, you're an interpreter. There was none of that. So I came into this interview just sort of guessing wildly. I thought it might be some like weird political organization. I was just like, am I signing up for some like weird like propaganda machine? Like, what is this thing that I'm actually doing here? And I tried to ask that question during the interview, and I left the interview and I was just like, well, it's very. I remember I was very impressed that NAI wanted to hire a full-time graphic designer. I thought that that spoke highly of NAI's priorities, that they cared enough about their visual brand to hire a graphic designer. But I remember going home and just saying like, I don't know. Like I would be in charge of their magazine and I would be in charge of their website and I would be in charge of conference logos, but I still don't know what this organization actually does.
And just
So
put in a little context, what year are we talking? Because I don't
This
think I
was,
mentioned it.
well, I interviewed in November of 2001. And then, if I recall, there was 3 months of intense negotiations between NAI and some tall, dark, handsome Italian dude who was demanding too much money. And so after
Very
those
true.
negotiations fell through 3 months later, I got a call in February of 2002 saying, "Hey, you still interested in that job?"
But
And if I
I wanted you
recall,
from the giddy up.
oh, is that right? Okay, so this was your co-interviewer who was the problem here. I do remember you mentioned Tim was part of that interview. When I started showing pictures of yard sale signs from my master's thesis, he politely excused himself. Well, it was real
Tim,
nice to meet you. We'll see you never.
and also just we were hiring a graphical artistical artist.
There was
graphical artistical.
that was it was a constant battle to get the term graphic designer into the NAI lexicon at the office. It was graphic arts, graphics arts, graphical arts, graphical design. Every time someone in the office got it wrong, I just handed them my business card. I'm like, I designed the business card, so I know this is right.
Well, Paul, after years and years of being at NAI, do
Yeah.
you now know what interpretation is? Have you
I
figured that part out?
I feel like I have a pretty good handle right now on interpretation, though it keeps changing and there are lots of different kinds of interpretation. We changed the definition of interpretation along the way from NAI, but yeah, I have grown to absolutely love this profession and the people who engage in it and the very important mission that everyone is engaged in and trying to build an understanding of cultures, to build an understanding of history, to build a conservation ethic and an appreciation for nature, right? Like it's an incredible field with incredible people and almost a quarter century, right? Like almost 25 years of getting to know folks in this industry has been such a blessing for me, right? Like it's been not just an incredible staff who I have gotten to work with every day for so many years, but the members. It's everyone who's listening to this right now. Just know that the staff appreciates you and appreciates the work that you're doing out there because it's such a valuable field, and it's been such an honor to be part of it for so long.
You just talk for a minute about all the different roles in
Okay.
NAI, all your different positions.
For many years, my main role was carrying boxes. I seemed to be that there were very few people on staff who could lift the heavy things. And actually, I remember when I became the full-time executive director and I was trying to carry boxes at the conference in Cleveland, that song like practically tackled me. She's like, the executive director doesn't wear a suit and carry boxes. So
Well, I
uh,
mean, your lovely mother did tell us how strong you were.
Yes,
that's true.
he's quite strong.
So
My,
quite
my
strong.
mom will tell you, she will still tell you to this day that I am quite strong. So I started off as our graphic designer, and I, got to do all those things that I said. I got to lay out the magazine and the website, and I remember using Dreamweaver and HTML to lay out the website in 2002. And the logos for the conferences. One of the very first things I did was design a logo for the 2002 National Interpreters Workshop in Virginia Beach, Virginia. That was one of my very first tasks. So after about a year, the they we decided to centralize the editorship and the design of Legacy Magazine. I had a journalism background and a graphic design background, and so I got to be both the editor and the designer for Legacy Magazine, which gives you a lot of freedom, by the way, because like as editor, I may not want to cut that paragraph, but as designer, there may not be room for that paragraph, and so away it goes, right? Like so that was always fun, to have both of those roles with Legacy. I did that for about 20 years. Like Legacy was my baby for most of my time before I stepped into the executive director role. But then then I took on Legacy, and then I was the art director and then the communications director. And then for the very first time in 2012, I was the interim executive director, a position you now hold, Heather. And that was the first of four stints as interim executive director. When Margot Carlock came on in May of 2013, she invited me to serve as the deputy director, and so I got to shadow Margot for many years and learned a ton from her. Margot was absolutely fantastic, right? Like so, that was that was when I started wearing ties to the conference. Was when I was deputy director. Margot's like, you're going to have to just not wear jeans and a t-shirt, because at the conference my main role was I would document it. I had a camera and I would document it, and I ran the AV. And so at the conference, my main responsibility was like getting up at 5 in the morning and making sure all the concurrent session rooms had the surge protectors and the extension cords were taped down and that the projectors were all ready to go. And I do remember in 2013 when Margot's like, you got to wear a tie now to the conference because you're going to be in meetings and you're the deputy director, and that's what deputy directors do. And that was like a huge deal. Everyone thought it was hilarious that I was wearing a tie. What was not hilarious, though, was when I was still doing all the AV stuff, but also being the deputy director, literally on multiple occasions, taped my tie to the floor while I was taping down the extension cords, and like I would lean back to get up and like practically choke myself on my tie that was taped to the floor. So I did when Song came on, actually, that was when we started working with outside AV companies, and that was a great relief that I didn't have to be plugging in LCD projectors and taping cords down. And I do remember, we'd have 10 concurrent sessions at a time, and it was very stressful in that 15-minute window to get to every single room and make sure the computers were talking to the projectors. And like if they weren't, that was a failure. That was a miss. And I remember, at the end of a conference a couple of times having that like 100%, we got every computer to talk to every projector. And that was like a huge win at the end of the conference, right? So, but then it was 2022, after my fourth stint as interim executive director, that President Jay Miller and VP Programs Jay Schneider offered me the position in November of 2022, right before the conference in Cleveland, and I've been serving as the executive director since then. So I don't know if I got all of them, but those are that's the highlights of all the various roles I have played over the course of 24 and a half years.
So
Well,
interim in 2012. That means I only have 14 years, and maybe I'll be executive director.
then you can take away the
Uh,
exclamation or the question
I
mark
should.
I don't
and
know
change it to
if
exclamation mark.
I don't know if it's the number of years or if it's the number of times you have served in the
You're,
position, right? Like, so you could be interim director like 4 or 5 times over the course of 5 years.
You know how people have like workplace nightmares,
Mm,
right? Have you had any of those
yes.
in your roles? Which ones?
Well, the
Which
talk about
role?
them.
conference.
He's like, I'm living one right now.
You mean
No, no,
actually
no.
like when I'm asleep, I am having a nightmare dream
About work.
about work? Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely when I first started doing the AV for the conference, that was incredibly stressful, right? Because it was just like people, relying, these presenters, and we would try to give them as much instruction as possible. And, you got to bring a laptop, and if you don't have a connector to connect to a certain, to connect to the cords that we have, here's what you have to bring. And it's just a lot of stuff to read, and it's a lot of stuff that people just like assume they can just show up and like, my literal nightmare was like walking into a room and there's like a guy holding a thumb drive. Like, okay, I'm ready to do my presentation, and there's no computer in the room. And then obviously in the more recent role, like it's a very stressful role, this executive director position, and you deal with a lot of budget things and HR things, and there have absolutely been times when I woke up from a dream about some big unexpected bill. Like that's the big nightmare, right? Like as you walk in to the office and there's a bill for $60,000 that you didn't know was coming, which is effectively what happened when the office flooded after we got all that rain in like 23, 24, whatever it was. Like we had some terrible flooding, and like that was this huge unexpected expense, and insurance covered some of it, but not all of it, right? Like so. Um, that's the sort of thing I'm looking forward to not worrying about as a peanut vendor for the Philadelphia Phillies.
I'll tell you what, so for listeners who don't know, I worked for the organization from 1995 to 2005 and then took a break till about 2018. But for years after that, every fall I would have conference dreams
Yeah,
for a long time. It's
yeah.
crazy how that sticks with you. Does that
Yeah.
happen to you, Song, with conference like planning and stuff? Do you have any of that?
No, I've been a conference and events manager, director for like 15 years, and I've never once had a conference nightmare.
It's pretty great.
Not once.
Yeah.
It's all handled, guys.
Like real life or dream nightmare? Like, have you,
Oh, there's been some
okay, real
very
life nightmares?
serious moments, yes, but no nightmares. I sleep like a baby,
You got a
which is
clean
crazy.
conscience. That's good.
Oh yeah. Sorry,
Yeah.
guys. So speaking of conferences, Paul,
Yeah.
being with the organization for so long, NAI has obviously their annual conference, international conferences. What is one of your favorite conference cities that you've
Mm,
been to?
okay. International or national?
Let's do one of each.
Okay. So I would say for the international conference, I loved Wellington, New Zealand. I thought Wellington, New Zealand was such a cool spot right there on a bay. It's built on a hill, and I got to Wellington about 12 hours before any of my NAI coworkers. And I got there, I landed in the morning, and it was very much my goal to not fall asleep and wreck my sleep schedule. And so I just decided I was going to walk all the heck over Wellington, New Zealand. And it's a small town, so it was cool, but it was big enough that, if you could just pick like, okay, I'm going to go to this cool spot. And then you see that cool spot, and then you say, okay, now I'm going to go to this cool spot. And so I didn't plan it out. I didn't map like an efficient route because I wanted to be on my feet. I wanted to be walking. I spent the whole day just like ping-ponging around to these different spots in Wellington. I do remember going to get lunch like right on the bay. It was like a little like fish and chips place, and I go in and I order from the waiter, and I hadn't talked to that many people yet, and I was like, I was like, this guy's accent is wild. I was like, this is so cool, like the New Zealand accent. And so I was like, so where are you from anyway? And he goes, Scotland. I was like, okay, well, I got to get better at identifying accents, I guess. In terms of the national conference, gosh, we've been to a lot of places. I really liked when we had the conference in Albuquerque. I thought Albuquerque was a very cool, sort of southwestern town, a place I might not have gone to otherwise. I mean, that's sort of one of the things that I have enjoyed most about NAI is like going to places that I likely would not have gone to otherwise, right? Like, anyone who has known me for more than 3 minutes has usually heard that I have been to all 50 US states. And a big part of that has been getting to go to these conferences all over the country. And Song, you and I have gotten to do site visits. Heather, you and I have been to so many, over the years, the many, many years, we've been to so many locations together, trying different food and seeing different places. And Heather, I don't think you and I were ever involved in a drive together, but when I first started with NAI, I was driving to the conferences, and that was fun. Portland, Oregon is another one. Portland, Oregon was a very cool town. I really enjoyed seeing that, and that was a place that I didn't get back to Portland for another probably 12, 13 years. So who knows when I would have gotten to Portland. And we drove there, and you drive through the Columbia River Gorge, and being a Italian Irish Catholic kid from South Philly, which I'm not, I'm from the Philly suburbs. But like driving through the Columbia River Gorge in Oregon was just like, wow, what, like, who knew? How did I end up here? So, so many cool places.
What do you think's unique about our conferences? I mean, you've been to obviously other professional conferences. What do you think's unique about ours?
It's easy. That's an easy question. And I'm glad I finally got an easy question because the conferences for NAI, the sense of community is just incredible. I have been, I was on the board of directors for a professional association for association executives here in Colorado. And I went to the conference many times and like they talked about community and everything, but it was just nothing that felt like the sort of warmth that exists among interpreters. And I've just always loved that. I went to some graphic design conferences. Like I said, I went to those other association professional conferences, and the friendship that exists, the sort of automatic camaraderie that exists among interpreters, even if they've never met, right? Like that has always been incredible to me. And, other conferences, I have had occasions where I would go and I would sit down at a table, and if people were engaged in a conversation, they wouldn't say peep to you. And that just never, ever, ever happened to me at NAI, right? Like even when I first started out, I still remember some of the first people who I met at that first conference, right? Like, my very first lunch at my very first conference was I sat next to Victor Cuevas from Puerto Rico, right? Like, and it's he's been less involved recently, but he was involved for many, many years, and we used to communicate all the time. And so, just the people, just the friends, the friendship, even among strangers. I think that's what sets NAI apart. The supportiveness too of each other, and that's part of that, right? Like interpreters want other interpreters to succeed.
So you mentioned designing logos
Yeah.
before and the conference logos. I'm going to give a plug for Baseball by Design, your podcast
Oh,
where you talk about the stories behind the logos, right?
yeah,
That's a
yeah.
good description. Can you talk about the story behind the new NAI logo? I say new in air
New.
quotes for those of you who can't see me. But yes, tell us a little bit going from the frog, the house, and the tree to upgrading our logo.
You know what, Heather? I did not expect this question, and I absolutely love it. Thank you so much for asking this question because this one's meaningful to me, right? Like one of my first things when I started with NAI was like, this logo that we have could be more professional. It could be more technically up to design standards when it comes to logo design. Like logo design is a very specific art. And I don't consider myself an artist. I don't consider myself an illustrator. I consider myself a designer, right? Like so a lot of logo design is sort of illustration based. And when I first started, I went to the board, went through, went to Tim and Lisa and went to the board and said, our logo could be updated. And I remember them saying don't like this is a can of worms, like you better not. And like, so I was like, but I'm if it represents us professionally, right? Like, and it's not up to professional design standards. And I hope I'm not offending whoever designed that logo. It was, I don't actually know who designed the logo. It was someone who knew someone on the board, and I don't know where it actually came from. But there was a lot sort of technically wrong with the logo. And so they were, I was told basically like, bring us something better. And I genuinely, no joke, spent 5, 6 years trying to bring something better to the board. And what I got hung up on was the house, the tree, and the frog from the old logo represented culture, history, nature, right? Like that was the idea, was that those symbolized the things that people interpreted. And so I started trying to bring literal representations of things, different kinds of leaves to represent nature, different kinds of structures to represent culture or history. And the conversations that happened at the board level were like, that doesn't represent where I work. Like that, we don't have that kind of leaf here. We don't have that kind of building here. And so I was running into, literally representing something was excluding people who interpreted things that were not those things. And my argument was like, well, the house, the tree, and the frog are all very specific, right? Like the old logo has some very specific literal things in it. And they were like, yeah, but if we're going to update it, we can't replicate that issue. And so what I determined was that what we needed was an abstraction. We needed something that represented sort of symbolically nature and culture, but that was not literally representing something from those areas. And so I did swoopy round things to represent sort of organic and the natural world. That's the swoosh that goes through the logo, and then the dot over the I, and then some of the text. And then I did rigid sort of architectural right angles, 45-degree angles to create the letters and AI. And I combined those two things, for the rigid architectural elements sort of represented culture and history, whereas the swoopy round things represented nature. And that to me was like, it was sort of fun to engage in some design speak and be like here's what I actually did, and these symbols actually do mean things, and that's why this logo is what this logo is. Um, and then the thing that surprised me was I took it to the board and finally got a positive reaction, right? Like, and some of these other ones that I put in front of the board were terrible and did not deserve to be considered as far as they even were, right? Like, I'm really relieved that the board talked me out of some of the things I wanted to do, because they were getting more and more sort of bizarre the more I got rejected on all these concepts. And so when I brought this just abstraction, the letters NAI from sort of abstract elements, they started reading literal things into it, which was hilarious to me. Like, it was like, oh, I like that you did a mountain with a horizon and the sun, and I like that you incorporated a teepee, and I like that the eye looks like a person. And like, they started interpreting the shapes in this logo. None of it was intentional, of course. It was just abstractions. And everything they said, oh, I like that you did this, or I like that you did that, I was like, I'm glad you like that. I didn't say thank you because I didn't take credit for it because I didn't do it, but it was something that they were reading. And and I know there are people who love that house, the tree, and the frog. John Hodgman tells us that nostalgia is a toxic impulse. I think that explains why people love that house, that tree, and that frog so much. But it is fun. I know that our fantastic new designer Emily McCowan has brought back the old logo on t-shirts and that sort of thing, and I love that she has done that. I think that that's really fun that exists in the NAI store now. But it was, the from a design standard, that old logo was not good. I know people still like it and respect it, and they wear it on their shirts, and it's kind of fun to see it out there, but only from a nostalgic standpoint, not from an actual design standpoint. Oops,
We
sorry.
all know that you copied the Hyatt logo. It's
Oh, okay.
fine. It's
This was the
fine.
this was the story. I can't believe I left this part of the story out. We unveiled it at the 2007 conference, which was in Wichita, and the conference was at the Hyatt in Wichita. And when we unveiled it, my friend Shay Lewis and I were up on stage, and we did a whole big thing with it. And I remember we had a T-shirt launcher. We somehow got hold of a T-shirt launcher, and we were launching T-shirts into the crowd. And then Donna Richardson, who was on our board of directors at the time, was up on stage next. And and I was just like so excited and so nervous about like this thing that I had created. The face of the organization is now, it's on me now. It's all on me. And Donna Richardson says, I wonder if Paul Caputo was staying at a Hyatt when he designed this logo. And for many years, when I would see Donna at conferences, I would say, Donna, you crushed my soul with that one.
You mentioned Emily, and by the way, Emily asked that question. That was her question, the logo question. So I want to
Oh,
make sure
that's
I do
so
not take
good.
credit. Yeah, I thought
Well,
so too.
let me just say that I am very pleased that I was able to hand off design responsibilities for NAI to Emily McCown. She's been doing such a great job for us.
I know, like when I think about you, there are certain things I'm like, I've worked for, I think, almost every executive director, maybe not one before Tim Merriman, but, and so I feel like each executive director has just given their own flair or flavor to the job. You sort of find your own way and chart your own path. So I know, like, when I think about you, there are certain things I think about you did as executive director. What do you think about? Like, I know I feel like that's a little bit of a cliche question, but I am very curious what you feel like is your proudest, I don't know if I want to say accomplishment, but maybe impact on the organization and the field.
Mostly, I'm really glad that I was able to get some minor league baseball logos on the main stage at the conference last year. So, um, so interpretation is by its very definition an inclusive, open-minded profession. And good interpretation requires the inclusion of multiple perspectives being represented. And one of the things that was very important to me when I started, when I applied for the job, one of the things I said to the hiring committee was, I want NAI to be intentional about its inclusivity, that it's not an accident, it's not an afterthought, that it is something front and center, that we focus on representing multiple voices, that we proudly stand up for the fact that this field is inclusive, it is equitable, and it stands up for forces of good. That interpretation done well is going to foster a conservation ethic. It is going to build bridges between communities. It is going to build an understanding of history that is going to make the world a better place. And working in concert with Parker McMullen Bushman, who is our president, it was real easy for us to stand up on stage together and proclaim that, right? Like NAI cares about the world, and we think that interpretation is a field that makes the world a better place. And I'm not saying that we weren't doing that previously. We were careful to be inclusive. We were careful to be equitable, but I don't know that it was as front and center as I wanted it to be, and as I feel that we made it. So I think it is a thing that when I look back at my time with NAI that I feel most proud of, right? Like there's been a lot of things that have been difficult during these last 4 or 5 years in the world, and for NAI to be something that people look to and say, I know where they stand, I know what they believe, I know that I belong, feels good to me.
Paul, I really hate this interview, just by the way.
It's
Like when this airs, you will literally have one more day. And
it's
that makes me
Yes, and
sad, but
also
I have your cell phone number
Yeah, I was gonna say you
and
have
I'm
my
gonna
cell phone
call
number,
you.
you have my email account. Listen, if anyone is listening to this episode and they have gotten this far, I want them to be able to reach me. My email is pauljcaputo@gmail.com.
happy birthday.
This
Yes.
episode is going live on my birthday.
Yes.
This is
Thank you,
True.
Heather.
great.
Well, we're recording it obviously in advance of that, so you are officially, Heather, the first person to say happy birthday to me this year. Uh, I hate this too song, right? Like this was the decision to move on to the next chapter was incredibly hard because this organization has been my life for a quarter century, and the idea that come August 8th, that's a Saturday, so I wouldn't be coming to work anyway. But on August 7th, when I walk out the door at the end of the day, that I'm not in the employ of NAI anymore. That it's not, that I am not associated with it, and it is not associated with me, at least in that moment. I hope I'll forever be associated with it in some way. Um, but it's incredibly hard to voluntarily walk away from something that has been so important and such a positive experience for me. And it's the friendships that we have on staff, right? Like, and you guys, you're two of my favorite people in the whole world, and I'm so glad to be having this conversation with you. But it's a super hard conversation to be having because, that question of like, okay, the realization that it's time for something different, time for something new on a personal level versus, the important work that NAI is doing and being sad to not be a part of that going forward. Incredibly hard. And, stepping away from the day-to-day interaction that we get to have, we'll still be texting and, you know, I'll still be driving through Salt Lake City and needing to sleep on your couch song when that opportunity comes up. And it's Heather. We're going to be going to the shore in Delaware when Heather comes back to the East Coast, right? Like, so what's that drink, Heather, at the Orange Crush or the
Gosh.
yeah, yeah. So we'll get some Orange Crush and a water ice at the Delaware shore. So,
Cheers.
I
Delaware has beaches, not shores, Paul. You
oh, it's
should
not
know
the
this.
shore. Okay, sorry, the Jersey Shore, Delaware beaches. We'll just go paddleboarding on the Schuylkill in Philadelphia. We'll just do that. So, I know that I will maintain the friendships that have been so important to me, but stepping away from NAI was, yeah, it was an incredibly hard decision, and and one that I think about every day, right? Like every day I come to work and I'm just like, oh, like this, it's so weird that it's not going to be a part of my day every single day. Now, there are some days when that's easier to take than others. Mostly when Song sends us $90,000 worth of conference bills, but
That's my problem now.
yeah, not my circus, not my monkeys. Yeah, but it is. It's hard and it's an amazing organization and it probably sounds trite, but it is something I'm just so proud to have been a part of for as long as I have. I did not expect on that first day that I drove an hour and a half from Lakewood, Colorado, all the way up to Fort Collins, that it was going to be something that I would be, doing all these years later. I kind of had it in my head that like the 2008 conference in Portland would probably be my last. Now, this is at a time song when we had like 5, 6 years worth of conferences already laid out. It's like, you know where you were going 5 years in advance. So this wacky world we live in now, you cannot do that anymore. That's for sure.
And
Paul, I have a question for you as we wrap this up.
Okay.
Which actor would you choose to play you through, as Paul Caputo joins NAI until now?
Yeah. I'd love to say Ryan Gosling, but I think it's probably going to be Jonah Hill. So that's
I want to publicly say, and I'm
Yeah.
not trying to make myself cry because in my family, we just shove our emotions down. But I just want to say thank you for being not only one of my best friends, but an amazing coworker through the years. So I'm very sad to see you go.
damn it, Heather.
And thank
Um,
you.
Well, you know that I share that, and one of the things that I will miss most, especially the fact that we work about 10 feet from each other, through the wall there. Like that's coming to work every day. Heather and I are the only two in the building every single day for the most part, and so it's been an opportunity, working closely with you, Heather, at NAI. It's that's why I'm I know that this is sad right now, but I also know that we will just stay in touch. But I wonder how long it'll take me to stop just like yelling when I have a question for you and realizing that you're not just 10 feet away.
That'll be
So
awesome.
would be awesome.
Your pets and Amy are just going to be like, that's just something he still
Stop yelling.
does.
I'll yell out a question and I'll just be like, ah, she must have gone to the bathroom or something.
Yeah.
Definitely gonna have to get a cat named Heather.
Yeah. Oh
Heather.
my God, yes. Well,
Uh,
I echo, of course, Heather's comments and sentiments. And it's funny, Heather, you hired Paul. Paul, you hired me.
mm.
Heather, you and I are going to have to hire somebody new.
Right. And now Paul kind of hired me.
Right,
Oh my
right.
gosh,
After
this little circle's getting crazy.
Eh, Heather's 13-year lunch break was finally
Yeah,
over
yeah.
in 2018.
But
Song, we have gotten to do some awesome stuff though, huh? Like, I mean, I think back to all like the site visits. As much as I have loved the conferences, the site visits have been one of my favorite things where we've gotten to go where it's been the two of us and then the committee, just
mhm,
getting sort of a couple intensive days in these different places because that's been
yeah,
really the sort of like intensive one-on-one song time and that's been amazing. I'm not joking when I talk about the fact that I've slept at your house and I got to go to your wedding and I got to go running with your husband Hugh in St. Augustine and so yeah, obviously there's when you get to go to work with people who you love, it just makes such a difference. And you
it
guys
sure
know I love
does.
both of you.
It really your relationship with the staff and then specifically with me in particular, especially during COVID, because I was hired in January of 2020. Fun. Here, do our conferences. Ah, COVID. We really were able to spend a ton of time
Yeah.
together on Zoom meetings, on, phone calls, after hours, after five, just catching up with each other, really giving really all of the stuff. But in particular, I feel you and I really, I don't know, utilized that COVID time to bond, and it was something very, very special.
Well,
So
I agree with that and I appreciate that so much. And I know that, you guys both were, we've been through a lot together that was not just work, right? Like we have been through so much in our lives in all these many years. And that's what I think about when I think about leaving NAI, right? Like I'm not walking away from that. And, you know, Jamie and I started the same year, right? Like, that was she and I have been working together forever, and working with Gene, who's I can't believe that's been a decade, right? Like, and so Gene and I, we have great conversations about our respective cats. It's like, and she was here in town, and then she's working remotely, and then as I said, Emily. It's been, I've so enjoyed getting to see her grow into her role and just bring her own visual brand. Like it's just been so great to work with Emily and then some the folks who have been here more recently like it's been so great getting to know Lee, right? Like I mean it's Lee is such a genuine kind person who cares so much about the organization and the people she works with. And then and of course Madison is just a couple doors down. She's what a character Madison is, right? Like and so and these are just the people we work with now, right? Like I mean this is imagine like all the people that we've worked with over all these many years and people who are still friends even after leaving NAI, and that gives me hope that these that this is not the high school yearbook stay in touch, right? Like that this is these friendships are deeply rooted and you guys are such a big part of my life. So that's what the personal relationships are the thing that make it the hardest to walk away. And I haven't even tried to name any of the members because there's just far too many. But like just by way of example, like getting to go to baseball games with Sam Ham and Howard April, right? Like I mean, that has been such a huge part of what I've loved so much about NAI. So it's been it's been an amazing ride, and I can't wait to see where the organization goes, right? Because there's a lot of stuff on deck. There's a lot of stuff that's coming down the pipe, and the organization has great things ahead of it, and I'm excited. I'm excited for your tenure, Heather, as interim director. And Song, I know you have so many ideas for what's going to happen to the conference, and that's That's where I get saddest, is knowing that I just won't be part of those things.
We will text you pictures. Don't you worry about it. We'll
You
do
should
FaceTime.
bring the conference to Philly sometimes. You come stay at my place in Fishtown, and we'll hang out in Philly.
You got it.
I do hope that the members feel that too, the members of NAI, because we've created this, atmosphere with the staff that's such a good community. It sometimes feels like family. And Paul, I really do believe that your personality and the executive director role has permeated through the membership in order to create that feeling of inclusivity and community and fun and purpose. And so I do hope the members feel that too, because I think that that was a big impact that you had on NAI.
Well, I appreciate that. I hope that it's true. I hope that it's true, and I know that whoever comes next, and Heather, I know that you're not applying for the permanent position of the CEO that they're bringing in, and so whoever that is probably someone we don't know, or maybe someone we don't know. So I hope that that continues, and I know that NAI will be successful, because if we've seen nothing else these last 5 years, it's that interpreters are resilient. And so I know NAI is going to be in great shape with whoever they bring into this role. Ultimately, though, this role, again, this is going to sound trite. It depends on a fantastic staff, and we're so lucky to have that, right? Like, I mean, one of the things that has been easiest about my job is all of the HR stuff, right? Like, I mean, the staff, just like the only time anyone on our staff butts heads about anything, it's because they want to do the absolute best for our members, and they care deeply, deeply, deeply about how to do the best for our members. And we may not just always agree on how to do the best for our members, right? Like, and so, it's, you don't have to worry about people slacking. You don't have to worry about people trying to manipulate the system. It's like we got this amazing core team, and the next CEO is going to be incredibly lucky to inherit that, because and I hope that the members understand that they are incredibly lucky to have this fantastic staff.
And interpreters,
That's
that's
what's
Go
up.
Birds.
up.
Go Birds is perfect.